Okay, testing, testing. Okay, yeah, it should be hearing now. Um, all right. So yeah, having some minor technical difficulties this morning, but the we have our first. We've done our pick three. The global band was he picked Kislev as his global band. Mine was Ogres, and then um, he's picked Words of Chaos, Wood Elves, Chaos Dwarves, Norska slash Beastmen. I picked the first three. Sorry. First map is Bordeaux Landing. I guess I'll do the intro one more time because the sound wasn't working earlier. We are playing on the we're playing in the Turin season finals, and I'll be casting up till the semis, and then I'll just let Turin take over because Turin will do the semifinals. I am what else? Uh, all of these matches are best of three until the finals, which is best of five. And yeah, it's a great Saturday. Time to do battle, I guess. Just waiting on Berserk to make his picks. If anybody is in the chat, tell me how stuff's going. Single elimination, Taurus, yeah. Yeah, these tournaments are tough because though the margin for error is small. Playing good players, and then if you lose, that's it. That's the name of the game. Gotta have a good run. So Berserk's banned Beastman's Wars of Chaos, Norska, what else? And I will ban Walk Norska, Wood Elf, Slanesh. Pavane was not banned in the end. Yeah, Taurus. Berserk's been a little quieter this season. Speaking of quiet, just I'll like remind people in case you haven't read the description that I'm gonna be muting during the games for the most part so that I can just focus. I'll talk about the games a little bit afterwards. Probably a little bit in the army building phase too. I'll be a little quieter than usual. Um, yep, we're just full try-harding today. Ooh. Berserk's taking a while to make his picks. If anybody's watching the Anticity game, can you let me know how it's going? The beginning of it looked really interesting. Maybe I'll just pop over there for a second. No, it's okay. I'll stay here. Yeah, let me know how his game's going. His first build on this map looked crazy to me, but knowing Anticity, he'd somehow pull it out. Anticity won the first one. That's impressive. That seemed like an insane build, but I guess the Forsaken makes sense if the Forsaken will trade up into most of the infantry that greenskins can bring. So if you go like really wide. Hey, dog meat. Thanks for tuning in. It's gonna be a good day today. Got a good feeling. The goal is to beat Berserk 2-0, but obviously we'll have to see about that one. So we're not playing any mind games. We're just playing the hardest we can from the beginning. Come out swinging hard. Put them on the back foot early. Got a couple new ideas cooked up for Borderlo Landing. Bob was saying before the map or before we played that he doesn't know why that Turin keeps playing this map. I think it's actually because it's got a lot of complexity to it. You know, you have the hill in the middle, you have some small hills here on the side, then you have a big forest. The deployments are across here, so you actually can deploy here, you can deploy here, or you can deploy here. Have options with where you start. Then there's like dynamics of how shooting works. Like shooting isn't the best. Some direct shooting isn't the best over this hill in the middle. These impassable terrains add a little bit of like asymmetry to this map. Thanks, Zebra. We'll know here in a second what the matchup is. Then you guys can help me brainstorm. All right, so he's banned out all of his Beastman matchups. I kind of wanted to play Beastman against him. He's left open Walk and Norska. Or sorry, Slanesh Walk and Norska Chaos Dwarfs. So we are going to pick CD Norska. Let's see. Pretty much have my army already. Had a rough idea of how I wanted to play this, and I'm content with. One unit I'm gonna be looking out for is the Cold Voider. Yeah, Lakarthrofel. It is Chowie versus Norska. All right, he's ready. Let's just go for it. Going for a quick win. Put him into game 2 with a on the back foot, like I said. All right, I'm gonna deafen here. See if I can figure out how to do this. Okay, so that didn't go quite like expected. Let me check the game sound. It should have been working, but if people didn't hear anything, then maybe uh, maybe I did something wrong. Yeah, the the big throw was losing my lord. Berserk brought kind of like the land battle style, like a good kite, a strong kite army. But losing my lord was a throw. Um, Spirit Leech was so useful, but what I didn't expect was every time I like dove my lord, the 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 hounds put frostbite on him, so very hard to get up. And then I just like didn't have the Infernal Guard were not good against his kite. So like I just happened to get kind of hard countered in the secondary part of the game. I've seen that style before that he went um, with so many of the hunters, but I'd kind of forgotten that it was a thing. It's a land battle. It's more popular in the land battle community. Next map is Dunes of Cain. Let me do the sound for the. Let's see. I'm gonna try to make it make sound. Did that sound come through? I mean, it says that the sound should be working. They might just be quiet, honestly. About to start picking. Maybe the game sound will work now. Let's see. Should be some sound effects from the thing. Let me know if you hear anything. He picked Slaanesh first. I picked Dwarves and Walk second. You pick corn in the second spot, and then my third pick is into corn and Slanesh. I should be picking Demons of Chaos instead of Warriors of Chaos, but and then Beastman as his third faction. Quite the interesting pick three. Okay. He started off the banning with banning Slanesh Dwarves. I'm banning Corn Dwarves, and Corn block. Yeah, Ethan, I'm a rat. I'm a rat. In terms of the rats in our names, I think the Rat Clan doesn't do that as much as some of the other clans. Yes, Taurus, the ban, it's just one global ban, so my ban of Ur Kingdoms will be for the whole season, or for the whole series. Yeah, $400. Yeah, this is it. This is the game. This is the reverse sweep. All right. Last two matchups are Dwarf and Beastman, Lizardman, and Corn. He's picked corn versus lizardmen. Lord Croak Tech. Be clutch. It's a good idea. All right. Getting ready. Taking down the blocker. Going to deafen. This one should be a spicy one. I think Berserk will expect what I've done. But the question of like whether or not that means that he can counter it is less clear. This map is an unusual one, so I might have read the map wrong. But we will see. Right, going to deafen or mute.
We have a victory point. Keep it from the foe. woeful tidings. You have the foe's victory point. You have been bested. There is only defeat.
Oh well, GG. Disappointing, but he played it well. First game. First game, I think I threw with the Lord. Like, I really feel like had I kept the Lord, it would have been a lot easier. But yeah, that's yeah, too heavy, too tall in the second game. He just was able to like walk around me, which made sense. Um, he did the correct thing. I just friendly fired my own lord there. This game, it felt like I was winning pretty strongly at the beginning. Good picks on Wolfric. He's more expensive than usual because he's paid for a lot of abilities. So if I just Spirit Leech Wolfric down, he's in a lot of trouble. And then I get a second pick here. So the beginning goes excellent for me. I even get a nice little hit on the Lord. Lose a little bit here, but it's like almost a fair trade. Kill almost his entire caster. So I guess his idea was the double the Hunter of Champions with the speed and then the Frostbite. So I guess that's why my Lord dies. And then I'm microwaving too many places at once over here. But I recover this one. This one I pick up. Just making a little box around the Soul of Damnation. I'm still controlling the back point, so I have time. Okay, so this is the first time. He uses the Hunter of Champions. I should have seen that he did this the first time, but I didn't notice the Hunter of Champions, so I was trying to figure out like why he was so slow. Set 23 speed. Able to throw a couple Hobgoblins in to salvage it. Ice Wolves route from the combination of the Soul of Damnation plus the Terror. These managed to peel. I don't think he casts much this game because my Lord doesn't get like any healing. Once the once the Manticore is here, though, I have a hard time dealing with it if I don't just turn and fight, which honestly I probably should have. I think the Bale Taurus will win pretty happily. Yeah, like look at all that damage. But I guess I get greedy and I decide to keep going for the casts. This is kind of whiffing on the Lord. Not doing very much damage. Yeah, I should just fight the Manticore. I kill it pretty quick. He'd lose some health, but not as much as the Manticore. And then now my micro's like a little stressed here. I'm trying to order it here, trying to protect the Iron Demon. Meanwhile, this Hell Cannon isn't really connecting very well with the Bale Fiend for some reason. And there's too many targets for the Iron Demon to do on his own. Like, this is probably unnecessary here. Oh, 40% missile resist. Okay. 50% it says. That makes sense. So I wasted a lot of shots on that. Honestly, I probably should have just Spirit Leeched him down, but I was trying to save Spirit Leeches for Wolfric. Wolfric is, like, almost completely dead. And yeah, so this is another one of those situations. He turns, actually, there. He, like, fights back into the wolves instead of running away. And now he's just completely stuck. And I try to pull him out, but again, speed's 21, so... I'm gonna throw the train in there to body block, but it's already too late, I think. Maybe leadership gets hit by the Hell Cannon shot. There's the first spell cast. I wondered what did so much damage. Giving a little bit of a heal right when I need it. One Marauder coming through. Surprised that it's not routing. First one dies, just straight up. Oh, and it's the Manticore that gets me. Manticore has 72 speed, 85 base. We have 69 speed with 90 base, but he's got wounds. So the Manticore is faster by a very small margin. At that point, I should just be running. The spell, probably the Melkoth cast is giving me more heals than... No, I'm still on cooldown. So it's just another slow. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty clever. He's, like, designed to catch the slow. He's just, like, slow stacking. Basically, with the Melkoth, you get a slow, 25%. Then you have the... I had to unsummon this. There's no way to defend it now. I had a Bull Centaur render to deal with this, but it comes just, like, slightly too late.
No, the enemy has slain our Lord.
And then at that point, this is what I was saying, like, Wolfric lived with barely any HP. The caster is already pretty much dead by, I guess, overcast damage. Had I just kept the Lord in the air for a second, it's taking a huge hit on the Ice Wolves that have really low leadership, the Marauders that have low leadership, the Hunters have pretty low leadership. So had I really just not, like, dived him down, I think I win this rather handedly. Granted that the Hunters are still pretty dangerous for dealing with my Infernal Guard, and he summons another one, but I've mostly killed them already. And mostly killed these as well. So yeah, this one I think was just like one small blunder. I like kind of felt like going into this game that there was a chance I would throw my Lord. And then I did anyways. And then the second game just now, I mean, I wonder who Berserk saw this kind of full flank from, but something that people are doing a lot more these days. He said he was prepared for fighting the Shredder. I guess it's an obvious pick, so maybe I should have gone with more uh like a less, even if I had just brought the the 2100 one or the 2400 one and gone wider, just like Foot Master Mundi. But I really thought he was gonna. I like misread how he was gonna deal with the situation. I thought he was gonna go with like a Gorgon or something to kill the Shredder, which like is not really good, or go with Minos, also not a very good strategy. But the plan that he took is just literally to circle me completely.
We have a victory.
And then I just like, I literally, the Shredder does all the damage, right? So even separating the Skink Oracle and Nakai doesn't help that much. And I can't easily defend. This was kind of an interesting pick, but yeah, so he just completely encircles and he just like sits units. Summoning this Bastiladon was definitely the wrong move. I had thought that, oh, I need to have the extra healing. But like looking at this army, no, I don't need to go taller. I need to go wider. So my instinct about what my first summon should be was not right. I can fast forward a little bit. So he just sets one Korngor. It's kind of funny that like Korngor is the one unit that is the anti-infantry unit. It's just something that's really sticky. And then he very annoyingly like keeps me off the point with like one Marauder, and I can't really deal with this easily. And so, okay, I say, look, I know that it's gonna take me a while to break free. I'm just gonna wait for the right moment and then just summon a ton of troops on top of this. Basically like doing a build up. But there's like literally no way for me to get out of my spawn without getting jumped. And I have too many skinks in my reinforcement, so I don't have durable Saurus. Because, you know, there's only so many Saurus that you can afford to bring. I mean, maybe this is already too greedy, like just sitting them apart. Like, okay, well, I can just be patient with one, keep what I have, keep what advantage I have, let one of the points go and just say like, okay, I'm just gonna summon a whole bunch of stuff, summon a bunch from the rear, and then come support with the Shredder. Just say like, okay, I'm gonna let off the points for a second and then come. So I pull the trigger here. I leave some in reserve, to counter, like, like, look at this die. He literally can bring his whole army here, and I can't even get out of the spawn. So maybe, again, maybe a better idea is to form like a front here, walk out while I still have a little bit of time. I just thought that like this combination of troops would kill this a lot faster. It does kill it, but because they're unbreakable, like I can't really do much about it. And then he charges the Skull Crushers. Again, the Skull Crushers feel like they should just die to the Red Crested. And I even have another Cold One Spear Rider in here. But I think they're just so like stuffed up. It's too hard to get out. I mean, this is pretty filthy, right? Like, I literally can't leave my spawn. And so I say, okay, well, maybe like I'm gonna try getting out a different way. This is probably, again, wrong, but it's like, what can you really do? And so he manages to fully surround, right? He has like 6 units here completely surrounding all of my units. And he has the Tormentor Sword. That's a really strong addition to this lore. And he's giving the Hellblade, I think. Does he do that? Maybe he didn't bring the Locust. And so they rout. Everything routes. Yeah, I mean, I haven't really played much like against a style like this. This is something that's still kind of new. Berserk was like well prepared. The rest of the
Awful
game kind of goes the
tidings.
same. Like, I think this was my one real attempt. I stay up in value for pretty much the whole game. I probably have extra value from the probably have extra value from before, but just like I knew that this is the way to do it, but like exactly how I picked it wasn't the best. I think I really did need to summon something from here so that they're not so like inefficiently
You
stacked on each
have
other.
the foe's victory point.
And yeah, like here, I mean, I should be winning this happily. Maybe they're just not fighting the things that they should be. No, they're fighting the correct target. But he's just able to bring so much. And then the skull crushers come back. Like maybe what I'm doing too, so like again, I try to do the same thing over here. But perhaps I'm just again like I just need to I need to create some coherence here so I stop losing things and then go around. Honestly, maybe even at this point of the battle, if I just summon things here or here, then I'll do fine. Stop being greedy, just like hold one point. And then like, again, like eventually I kill the Korngors, but my troops here too fragile. Their leadership's too fragile. I'm like right next to the edge, right? So it's like having the spawn points end up being really close to the edge lets spawn camping be more of an issue. Yeah, I mean like so the rest of the game is like I'm like barely winning. Also, that was just one shot from the Skink Oracle. Yeah, having just just like not ever able to leave the spawn, and I don't have the right troops. Like if I had brought another Kroxigor maybe, or brought another something just more durable, like more Saurus, um, then it would have been fine. But here it's too much. Yeah, just can't leave, and I don't quite identify exactly the right way to get out of here. Well played by him. Good idea for how you take advantage of like just the monster mash. So let me put this up and then I'm gonna join his game. Let's see if I can change one of the settings real quick. Let's see. Yeah, Kartava. I mean, I think it's obvious that the Dread Saurian is like going to appear, but even still, um, yeah, and Raksha, I think, and Raksha, I think it was just like like the pick was not my anticipation of how he was going to answer it was wrong. I thought he would bring um something like uh the Scarbrand or some sort of hero squad. But hero squads are just such like a trap into into Lizardman because the Shredder still wins. So yeah, he just built he like outbuilt me in both games. Had clever ideas. Let me see. Um, yeah, Corngor is in. Here, let me. I'm gonna put down the stream for a second, and I'm gonna try to put up a delay. Actually, let's see. We're having some strangeness. Okay, I think I've applied a stream delay. Yeah, I mean, I think in hindsight, that's absolutely true. Um, Taking better infantry would have been good. I did debate like before the game whether or not I completely changed the build because the Shredder is so obvious. Doing something much less obvious, like taking a bunch of Temple Guard. In hindsight, that would have been better. I think part of it too is that I'm like unfamiliar with the map, so I didn't really know what was possible. I thought that the map was like closer or like had more spawns. Like like I didn't know it was possible because I've only played on this map a couple times. It just shows my inexperience with it. Looks like we have Chaos Dwarves versus Ogre Kingdoms. Navigator on the Chaos Dwarf. So Berserk is playing against a lot of Chaos Dwarves today. So Berserk's opponent is Navigator. Currently, we'll look at the standings. We still don't know who won in um the game of okay, Tim the Wilder has made it till the semis already. And on the top bracket, we have Antici advancing, Oishi advancing. We're still waiting to find out from Rusto. Via, unfortunately, is out of the tournament. Now we wait. Okay, looks like the game is going to start. Oh, not quite. Okay, game is starting. Streamer mode back on. Interesting armies from both players. Navi played this against Oishi. Navi played this matchup against Oishi. Played it similarly. All right, we'll look away for a second just so that the competitors can start the game. No possibility of peeking. Look at these nice clouds. They're pretty nice clouds, actually. Are they simulated or are they're just pictures, clouds? Probably just pictures. Okay, we look straight into the sun. It's a nice little village. A little path that goes through the village. Go look at the castle. Little Disney World castle. Okay. Let us see. Mm-mm-mm. They're almost ready. All right, one of them is ready. Okay. So double hunter with harpoon launcher. So this is like the Stegodon version. I've played around a little bit with the harpoon launchers. They're not bad. They're not great. Just a troll guts caster. Pretty standard. Then a bunch of trappers and a gorger actually. So I guess not really sure what this is for. So we have the Heshut caster. Double trains. I'm not exactly sure what the trains are for. It looks like... Yeah, I mean, the hunters will be very happy to shoot at the bull centaurs or the trains. This blood vulture summon maybe is not going to be that useful. Double bull centaur Taurik. So Navi was expecting some form of Stonehorn. This one is the Bale Taurus, not the Great Taurus. I think? Or are you a Great Taurus? I don't remember. I think it's just the cheap one. Harpoon launcher is already doing a lot of damage. I wonder what the train... I guess the trains are for clearing out Noblars. Blood vultures coming in on... The cutthroats should kill them if they turn around. Can't really wait very long. You'll take a lot of damage on these bull centaurs from the harpoons. Is he's waiting for the trains to get in first? We saw this last time too from Navi. The way that he plays this is he baits the surround with like crushers or Mornfang. This is a little inefficient, right? You don't actually have that many models. Okay, now that's pretty much fully surrounded. But you're going to take a lot of damage in the process. One train is kind of stuck. Hunter is taking a lot of damage. Points belong to Navi. 2 points belong to Navi. I expect the first... Well, I mean, look how fast the bull centaurs are pretty much already dead. The Tauruks are still here. Lord should get on the Stonehorn ASAP so that the fire damage is applied. He seems stuck, maybe? He's not moving. Alright, here he goes. Bull centaurs are almost dead. I mean, quite honestly, I feel like this is how Navi was really close to losing the first game. So Troll Guts is very slow, so you really want to be applying fire for as much of that as you can. But that whole entire dive could basically be completely mitigated by the hunter healing up. So if you just keep whittling it down, if you don't route it off, it'll still be healing. Here's another bull centaur. Great weapon. I maybe would put it over here. Hard to say for sure. The other one has come back. Blood vultures still just killing the goblins. Wait, look at that insane heal. That was an upgraded, I think. Yeah, but pretty much at its heal cap already. And both Tauruks are almost dead. So I think this approach by Navi is just not really panned out. Somehow the charge from the bull centaurs like didn't make good contact. They're not really seem to be fighting very well. Now they're fighting a little bit. But I think Berserk has already won this game. That's the thing about doing a big dive. You win quickly and you also lose quickly. Interesting to see how much the trappers paid for themselves. Stonehorns already have basically paid for themselves. Lord is nearly dead. Gorgers is a strange tech. I wonder why he brought so many Gorgers. Just paid for themselves greatly. The 1200 on this Gorger. stats look okay.
You have been bested.
And it's done.
There is only defeat.
Yeah, quick and furious, that's for sure. I mean, I feel like, yeah. I mean, I don't think this matchup is particularly good for Chaos. I wouldn't have taken this. Um, you can probably make do depending on how you build. Like, let's say you bring Fireglaves or something into an army like this, but then you try that and then you end up with like playing against the Oishi like Lead Belcher style and you're just dead in the water. So this is why I banned out ogres because I just like I don't think that if you're not getting to play them. Oh, I missed a Flames of Asgorth. Um, yeah, the I mean I guess the trains did fine, but like the Bull Centaurs just fell over. And for some reason the Gorgers did really well into them. Maybe they got the charge and they didn't. Gorgers are kind of nice with the Vanguard. But yeah, I mean, I didn't think this playstyle was so convincing into Ishii's build. It's just too dodgeable, I guess. It's like easy to see a rush like this coming from far away and like honestly, had Berserk brought a couple pigbacks in this army, the trains can't really run over the pigbacks that easily because they don't have the knockdown animations. And then the pigbacks are going to feast on the bull centaurs. Harpoon launchers were like interesting. I think because Navi brought the build he brought, they paid for themselves quite nicely. If he hadn't brought that, then maybe it would have been a different matter. Okay, let's put up the blocker again. We will go back out. I guess the next map is Crystal Lake. I wonder how well the harpoon launchers do into fireglaves. But yeah, interesting game. Maybe we can pop over to Anticity stream for a second, see how it's going while we wait. We'll just rewind the game a little bit. Let's see. So here's the Anticity stream. Let's go back a little bit. So he went 2-0 in his first, and he's waiting for the second. So let's go back to the first game because I wanted to see, not that game, here. I want to see how he pulled this off. Martin didn't bring that much shooting, but he brought a lot of orc boys, which seem not ideal. Like the deployment is interesting for Martin. He's saying like I want to do shooting, but I'm gonna go capture my back point to do it. The skirmishers are already getting a lot of value. Just got Pavane. I mean, I think I don't like the orc boys. I don't know that the archers are necessarily right. Like you probably would want more mobile archers. Maybe not. But those archers need to be shooting like right now at the Lord. As soon as the archer starts shooting, the Lord basically has to leave. Yeah, see? But the orc boys took a lot of damage in that. Archers took a lot of time. Look how much damage the Lord took in just like a few seconds. Maybe that's why I was saying like maybe the skirmish cav would have been a little better because they're just be like more mobile. You wouldn't have had to deal with this either. Anticity claims his micro isn't that good, but I think it is quite good. And so yeah, now Anticity has basically done what was done to me. He's like all the way in his opponent's spawn. It's something that maybe map makers should start thinking about a little bit more. Um, let's see. So let's just fast forward through this. I think this game is basically over already. I mean, supposedly Anticity is not trading up, but none of the skirmish value was counted. Azag with just Spirit Leech makes sense. Eventually the Lord will be like dead or out of it. I mean, part of the problem for Martinius here is that like your orc boys aren't going to do any damage to the Forsaken. So you have to figure out a separate plan. I mean, this looks sketchy for Anticity. Like the beginning momentum is kind of worn off. They're gonna go for another big dive. Now that the troll's here, you could start engaging. Like trolls will do well into C's being pretty patient. Martinius missing like a point blank shot of archers on the Lord. Look at this massive amount of troops that Entity have. He's basically like fighting two battles. So now he's gonna move in. Nope. And he's basically routed everything here now in the back. And Tusi is very good at like getting these routes. And I know why. It's because if you ever watch his single player streams, this is how he wins battles is by like acutely knowing when things are going to route and making routes happen. to turn the tides of battles. But even for routing, he's like, he's so lost here. But I'm guessing what happens is he wins on points, perhaps. I mean, his lord has got to be dead soon, right? You could overcast Spirit Leech to kill the lord. All right, let's see. Is the game starting? Not yet. They're still picking. Fiends change the dynamic of this a little bit, but I think he did already hold it for long enough. So he only has to have 1 point. Yeah, so like I said, I think that's how he wins this. Granted, the value isn't being properly tracked, so it's hard to say exactly who's winning. I mean, I still do like Anticity's like all wall of armored infantry. Black Orc's finally coming out. But I think what Martin is going to find here is that he's going to have a very hard time holding 3 points at once, and Anticity's not going to like let him. Yeah, he can probably even Anticity could probably even like rotate his entire forces to the bottom point, and like, what is Martin going to do about that? Just stretch too thin. Funny enough, Martin did like I played basically how Martin is playing, like a really slow and steady shooting build, and then Martin beat me by like a small margin for playing the points. That was Beastman Tomb Kings, but it was similar dynamics. Are those Savage Orcs or Black Orcs? I don't know what the new icons are. And yeah, he can't stay in too many places at once. So Martin is just like way too static. And Antici is doing a good job forcing like an attack in the back and an attack in the attack in the home point and an attack in the. I would say the value tracking is also not correct because of routes and skirm value not being counted. His lord is basically dead. He shouldn't charge his lord in there. The lord's gonna die. Stiff breeze will knock it over. But yeah, Martin's not gonna be able to come to the third point. He's just never gonna capture that. Antici could take the back point too now. The fact that Lord is not dead yet is still pretty impressive. Okay, so he's identified that he wants to take the back point. Lord is healing there on that routing unit. Yeah, but Antici just like loves these super hypermobile styles. He's gonna capture that back point pretty well, and then like you're not making it to the middle, you're not making it to the back point. Yeah, that's GG. Still waiting on Navian. Here, let's just check the stream. Yeah. It's just kiting. Foot archers makes sense, but they're so static. Hard to deal with. Yeah, it's when you're like down on points, but this map in particular, he's doing a good job pulling you apart. So like You don't have to go so like as greenskins, you don't have to be so static. I mean, sure, Pavane makes playing very dangerous, but even still, like you don't have to. Yeah, this one's over. Let's see the next one. My favorite map now. If I played against NCC in this tournament, I was definitely gonna just ban his Kislev. I didn't want to play with this ridiculous build. So he's dropped the elemental. Martin has 9 units as Slanesh. This is actually kind of a. It used to be a pretty easy matchup for Slanesh. You just bring like Marauders and then some Fiends. I find it kind of interesting that this map makes like 2 separate battles. You like fight on the left or you fight on the right, but you don't fight in the middle. Rarely. All right, we have one build. Good pullback from Martin, good awareness. Still taking more damage than he's giving. That's for sure. I mean, I feel like as a Zazel, you want to be not rampaging the Skirmcat, but rampaging the sleds. Sleds seem more dangerous. Like every Pavane should kill one sled, probably. It's the ideal situation. The like the double worm makes sense for killing fiends, but it's pretty slow actually. The Forsaken here probably not as good. The thing that the Marauders with the shields and the whips do is that they give the charge reflect, which is very nice. But Martin expected. I wonder even still, like, can Martin just like do what Berserk did to me? I guess not as easily. Yeah, I mean, I think if Anticity wins this, it's because the sleds get good, just do a ton of damage. And the poke from the worms add up. There's not that much point pressure on him right now. Fiends are gone. This game is probably already over, honestly. So Anticity wasn't running the sled build before. He kind of ran a little bit like this against me as Demons of Chaos, so I guess maybe he changed it up a little bit. But yeah, I mean it's a good idea to like not do something super obvious. So looking at me aside, not the best. Can you set YouTube to night mode? You're killing us. I'm sorry. Um, Here, I'll do. I actually don't know how to set it to night mode. That should be a little better. Phantasmagoria is probably not as good as Pavane. But yeah, it's an idea too. The problem with Phantasmagoria is it costs a ton of WOM and then it doesn't last very long. So it's like not a very cost-effective spell. Like so in theory it can work, but it's only like 15 seconds or something. So yeah, Martin's first game definitely was a little bit more convincing than his second game against Anticity, but neither build was really like cut out for Anticity's play style exactly. It's like Anticity is definitely a player you can prepare for, but this does not seem to be the way to do it. All right, we have our. Well, we can look at maybe some of Anticity's other games after the stream, but looks like Berserk is going and Navi are going. So pretty wild builds. But we'll do the same thing. We'll just look off. All right. Thought I already came over here, but Navi again with a wild build. Not going to say much about it till the game starts. Yeah, it resets when they load in. Go under the water. Sure, we'll put it in the dark for Gondola. Oops. Just be like the darkest thing that we can find so that you don't have to look into the brightness. All right, there we go. That should be good. Oh wait, the game started. Okay. Almost missed the action. So Boris is gonna be chasing the Herald all game. Herald should be faster than Boris. Not by a lot, actually. Um, so Berserk went wide with archers. We have like a single hop-in long rifle. We have an engineer with restock. Navi's got triple blood crusher, which Berserk hasn't discovered yet. Berserk might have checked the numbers and done the count, but if he's focusing too heavily on what's going on over here, he might not have noticed yet. Navi already throwing some Furies into Outriders. Not a big fan of that.
We have a victory point. Keep it from the foe.
There's blue fire and pink fire. Alright, well here come the cavalry. So these are all the anti-infantry variants. Berserk doesn't have a lot to deal with this. Berserk also is gonna sit an engineer on a point. Navi looks to be going to capture that with a Knights of the Blazing Sun. Okay, let's see into the spears. That's pretty good damage into the spears. One archer routing. Do Blood Crushers even trade up into Knights of the Black Sun? Blazing Sun? Hawkwind Long Rifle is getting dove by the Furies. Should make quick work of them. And just more Furies. So, again, Navi is going for this just huge rush. This time, Navi is capturing the back point, so putting him on a timer early. Nice pink fire. Blood Crushers made it through the front line. Pretty exciting game, actually, so far. Making it into the secondary. Hawkwind Long Rifles are dead before the Furies die. They'll come back, though, not fully routed. This Fury is probably already stuck in Spearmen. Berserk doesn't have his caster. So if Berserk has a caster, he was planning on summoning it later. Wow, the Hawkwind Long Rifles already come back. But the Blood Crushers do win against Knights of the Blazing Sun. What a start to the game. And now the Nurglings are capturing in behind. I imagine this Chaos Fury will chase off the Outrider. This is like the insurance policy. If it doesn't go in your way, then you you win on points. I don't know, this is looking pretty dominant for Navi already. Granted, he's spent a lot of money on Furies. That'll add up. Alright, Hawkwind are dead. They shouldn't come back now. They should rout off. Furies get away. Nice awareness by Navi. Now, what do you summon as Navi? I think maybe you're summoning like Plague Bearers or something durable to capture. Wow, Hawkwind come back again. But the Heralds of Blood, Blood's Furies are coming. Their weapon strength isn't, I guess it's relatively good for a cav, but it's like closer to a monstrous infantry, really. The Spearmen block have basically been broken already. One Outrider, two Outriders, both are gone. Navi is summoning Flesh Hounds. That makes sense to me. Again, the Knights of the Black Rose. Great shot from the Hell Cannon. Cheeky little Free Company Militia summon. This is kind of a similar problem to what I said before. Like, maps that have very few points, and then the points are like right by the outside. Kind of a wimpy charge from a super elite anti-infantry unit. Doom and Darkness. That hits all 3 units there. It's nice. They're gonna rout. One is still online. 3 Flesh Hounds are out, and the points are all to Navi. I would say that this is all Jover. Unbraced charge. That's more like the kind of damage you would expect. This unit stayed in the battle, although it's gonna rout. There it goes. This is a good trade. Probably Navi will trade up there. Yeah, nice game. Like, very surprising. Berserk wanted to be more like play a long slow game, and Navi just kind of came in here and walked over. And Tissy actually beat me in this matchup recently with the
I knew
with
it.
War Wagon Kite.
Unending glory
And
is
Berserk taps out.
yours.
Yeah, strong show from Navi. I don't know. After the last game, I was like skeptical about these rush builds. But that was nice. These the Cav actually did pretty well going through the spears. So they actually were able to get in. And Berserk just went so heavy on the shooting. Which makes sense. I mean, this is like a standard style that you would play against Demons of Chaos. I think Anticity brought 5 archers, and then instead of these 3 units, brought 4 war wagons. Uh, and Berserk never had time to summon his caster. He did in the end, but it was like way too late. Not that it would have been so useful against these units. Skull cannons are kind of annoying. Yeah, really nice show from Navi. That was fun. See what the comments say. Yeah, that was some hot steam in action right there. All right. So they'll go to a game 3. And let's switch back over to watching Anticity's stream. Oh, we wait. Window. Sure. So yeah, Outer Region. Let's look at Outer Region's game. All right, oh, no spoilers. All right, so yeah, Anticity is loving these war wagons. As I found out that they are slightly bugged, because they have higher range than they say they should. So that the tooltip says that war wagons have 130 range, but they actually have 150 range. You might say that doesn't make a big difference, but that puts them with longer range than practically every archer, or almost every archer in the game. So it does make a difference. There's only like some wood elf archers and some like way watchers, or maybe elf high elf archers that have more range. Outer region going with a pretty similar build to Martinius actually, so it's almost like we're looking at a repeat of the last game. Outer region is very good micro though, so I imagine he'll play it a little different. Not that Martinius doesn't have very good micro, but Outer region is like pretty good at like getting us around and being quick with pavane, that kind of thing. Hell, he brought the Sunmaker. So this is what Outer Region kept doing against me. He just time and time again just, or sorry, not Outer Region. This is what Anticity does against all these players. He just goes for the kite, drops a net, and then shoots. So that time it didn't do insane value. I can't remember if Sigvald has. Oh, okay. So this is what I was saying that should be done in the other game. The net is nice. Like the war wagons get vaned. One of the war wagons half health. That's probably worth it. Yeah, there it goes. I mean, spirit leeching Sigvald feels so bad. He's Sigvald. He's doing it anyways. He's just like pretty heavily invested in the Lord Snipe. Um, yeah. One thing that I noticed Anticity does that I'm not a huge fan of is that he reads comments during games. So like during tournament games, somebody will be like, "Oh, hey, there's a like you forgot about this unit. That unit's hiding in the corner," or stuff like that. Um, and sometimes he reads those comments and he like does changes based on them, which feels kind of shitty if you're the player that doesn't have a chat telling you what to do. Seen him do it like once. I don't know if he's doing it in this tournament. Yeah, he's really invested in the Sigvald. Sigvald heals, so you got a lot of work to do to kill him. Let's see if the war wagons can shoot point blank at Sigvald. They're getting some damage in, it seems. Hard to tell. Outer region's flank is nice, but I think he has too much cav. Like relatively speaking, all of the cav is not going to do very well into the Yeah, Sigvald is going to die before he can heal probably. Yeah, Sigvald's going to die right here, I think. Outer region's dive was like well timed, but like too many spears around, and the the Hellstriders that he have didn't weren't able to connect with like squishy targets. There's just a lot of armor. Like there's two Empire Knights and a Demigryph Knight that were able to kind of clean them up. Sigvald's still alive, still in there. I imagine Sigvald will die, but does he die before it makes a difference? Still hard to say who's winning in this. I mean, sorry, I would say it looks like Anticity is winning by a large margin. Um, the points will add up, but it's like not been enough time to really make a difference. I think if you're outer region, if you're just gonna like charge into spearmen, you probably want to get more marauders. Sigvald almost looks like he's out healing the and outer region, or sorry, Anticity did a good job like maintaining a single cap throughout all of this. So um outer region didn't even manage to keep him off of that point one. Outer region is spending a lot on light cav, and I'm not a big fan of that. Maybe at this point of the battle it becomes a little better, but I think the light cav die pretty. They trade down into Empire Knights. So and Anticity, all Anticity has to do is get Empire Knights out on the field. It should be okay. Maybe not all he has to do. Maybe it's a little underselling it. Now, outer region winning point one. If he pulls this off, then it probably will make a difference. Sigvald is almost definitely going to die now. His healing cap is approaching, but it's going to take one or two more spirit leeches. Maybe just one more, actually. Maybe the war wagons kill him here, actually. Let's see. Sigvald dying could be the one thing that like loses outer region the battle, or one of the biggest things. Look at this just mess of light cav in spears. Like that can't be good for your spears. Or sorry, can't be good for your light cav. I want to say Anticity wins this because he like is able to come back in enough time. But that said, it's like almost the single cap territory now. Yeah, look at Sigvald. So Had Sigvald kind of stayed out of range, I guess he wouldn't have died. All right, all of those cav are gonna rout now that Sigvald is dead. And then what does he have? He just has one chariot, no infantry left, just a bunch of routing Hellstriders. Yeah, Anticity has enough time. It's like relatively close that he doesn't, but um, that Lord loss penalty will be pretty large. One thing that'll hurt Anticity is that he doesn't have very much left in the pool. I mean, it's still close, I would say. It's close. Anticity already needs the single cap. There is a chance that Outer Region can get enough bodies to like hold down a single point. But yeah, I mean that pick with the Empire Knight is good. That'll help him a lot. Every little win there is gonna help a lot for Anticity or for Outer Region. I still think naively that this is probably over. Yeah, I mean there's a Demigryph Knight now. I don't think anything that Outer Region has is gonna survive against a Demigryph. And granted, it's like a matter of time now, like you, but it's still a lot of time. And the value gap is pretty large. I think Outer Region just had some inefficiencies with the Cav, especially in the middle game where he had like two Hellstriders and a Chariot that were just blobbed up on 3 Spearmen. Um, I think honestly, like the dive at the beginning wasn't the best either. That's a nice narcissism. There goes his caster. His caster is going to die in a second. What Outer Region is doing here of summoning something to the back point at this stage of the game, it's like much too late. Unless he can like destroy this whole position. But if he just charges it into the cav again, or into the braced spears again, it's not gonna work out so hot. And Antesti just has so much more on the field. Like that one Demigryph, like I said, is gonna make a big difference. So this one is over. Where did my mouse go? My mouse is gone. I can't see my mouse anymore. Oh. Lost my mouse somehow. Here, let me stop streaming for a second until I can fix this. All right, there we go. And then let me put the blocker back up. Like we have Walk versus Norska. Okay. Yeah. Sorry, I had some technical difficulties there. The mouse like disappeared on me strangely. 20-man backseat games. Just reading chat. Uh, yeah, they got a secret buff, the Hellstriders. Maybe, yeah, I think Hellstriders got a little bit of a buff as well. So they're stronger again. Yeah, Greenskin, it's like debatable whether or not it's like I wouldn't go as far as saying it's cheating, but if well, okay, I'll take a stronger stance. I'll say it's cheating if it's in a tournament game. Um, this is like the same standard that you would have with like people in getting live coached in voice chats. But it's like a very minor form of cheating. And if the stakes aren't that high, then sure, it's not that big of a deal. But yeah, I mean that's just my opinion. Let's see. Okay, Navi is already ready. Jade Tomb is the next mat. This will be the last game that I cast, and then we'll go over to Turin's stream. The bracket that's live has Oishi playing Ash, still playing. Outer Region is still playing Anticity. Navigator and Berserk are still playing. And so this one is for all the marbles in this series. Whoever goes on, whoever wins this will play Tim in the semifinals. Yeah, Navi's build was so fun in that last game. Glad that he's like really taking these big risks. Curious to see what he does in the next one. Like, does he change up the style? Does he go for another rush or does he change? There's just taking a minute to get ready. Yeah, Taurus, the arguably there are no buggy units right now. The units that were limited were the units that were limited are Arrows of Kronos at 1. Seekers and Heartseekers are just outright banned. Thunder Tusk is outright banned. No restriction on Pavane, no restriction on Wrathmongers. Arguably, Wrathmongers are quote unquote bugged, but There's probably no units that are like actually bugged that are banned. While I have you here, next week is going to be a special tournament that I'm hosting on March 3rd. I need to make an announcement after this weekend. I'll be putting out some information about that tournament starting soon, probably Monday, but it should be fun getting some noteworthy streamers playing some games, all that I can leak right now. All right. J-Tomb's an interesting map because it's got this like triangle formation. So some of the maps that we've seen so far have been like 3 across. Because all of the maps we've seen so far. It's the first non. Okay, do it in a second. A little darker. Okay, look off into the sunset. Like these beautiful starry sky. Nice broken trees. It's like bamboo. Bamboo, what are you doing here? This is a cafe map, maybe? Oh, you know what? They're broken just because I'm like zoomed out. And the foliage is hidden. So if you were not looking at the foliage, it'd be hard to see units. Similar number of units. We'll just barely look up. Got some Vanguard units. So I shouldn't say that. Just look at the timer just to make sure. Keep things fair for both players. Guess you can see the mini map, which doesn't help, but not really anything I can do about that. Oh, game has started. Berserk coming out with 6 Skirm Cav. This is like old school. This is how you used to play it like when it was launched. Navi, good timing on the Cav? Oh. A little bit. I mean, he's winning the Skirm trades. Berserk's taking a lot of it on just one. Now he's bringing his units over. I like the aspiring champs here because they'll eat a lot of the missiles with they're like hard to hit because they're small. All right, Azazel just with Pavane, blissful Rapture. I don't like this combination personally. I think it's a waste. Tends to be a waste, but to each their own. Maybe you're casting the first Pavane already, getting your Hellstriders. But Berserk is going to be at a disadvantage because of the Pavanes. Alright, so on the far one, that's a nice choice. And now he's following it up. I mean, this is clean from Navi. Still takes a decent amount of damage in return. Still a good pick. Cold Voider shot. Does good damage, but not game-changing damage. Navi's coming up to an early lead with the skirmishers, but taking a lot of damage on the Hellstriders. That'll come back to bite him. Spears are interesting, a similar idea to the Aspiring Champs, but they'll take the missile fire a lot worse. Navi has the point lead. Might make a difference, might not. Summons from Navi, nothing yet? No. One more skirmish cav. So we have the full 6 from both players. Now one less. But this is not good. Berserk's gonna miss those. Metal Caster, we have Searing Doom and Final Trance. A little Searing Doom here would turn the fight, but this seems loose. I guess he's bunching it up for the the Searing Doom. Yeah, so this is a good pick in the end. The Horsemith Masters didn't take that much damage. I guess that's why he charged them in. They're Horse Masters. And then losing them this early is a good. But overall, the trading feels like it's going to Navi. At the end of the day, the Aspiring Champs will continue to grind, where the Spears will suffer. I almost wonder if you're Navi, you just start pushing slowly to 0.3 and say, like, my Aspiring Champs will eventually get there, and you'll have to deal with that. The Aspiring Champs do chunk away HP. And in the front, the Skirmishers are going to do a lot of damage. Azazel going in for another Pavane. I think we've seen maybe just one so far, based on the gold value. He's probably looking for a second one. You could think about Pavaning the Beast of Tashnar in, but you don't really have good follow-up. But Spearman probably will get accidentally routed there. So yeah, Aspiring Champ still providing like kind of a backbone. Now Hellstriders, this is kind of sloppy. This is got a huge Searing Doom. So if you're Berserk, you're looking for like this perfect target. And then a good breath attack. Hellstriders have ITP, but yep. So this could cost the entire game from Navi. Just look at all that damage. That's crazy. This was not a great decision. I think pretty much 1, 2, 3, 4 units just routed, 5 units just routed from that. I think what happened, Navi was over here looking at microing for a second, and Berserk was there for the punish. As big as that was, it's not clear that Berserk is going to win off of that, quite honestly, because but if these two units don't return, if they both and look at that Frostbite and Chilling Aura, they're just crawling. Their speed is 34. Yeah, that's rough. That's rough. Beast of Tashnar, good pick into the Hellstriders. Hellstriders bonus versus large won't help them here. And yeah, the tide of the battle totally changed. Granted, Navi still has the points, and still has the Aspiring Champs, and for the most part, nothing that Berserk has will actually kill the Aspiring Champs. Yeah, it would be interesting to ask after the game to Navi what happened with that engage, because I kind of feel what happened was he like went to squish here and then forgot to follow up. Aspiring Champs fighting Throg. Maybe Throg is the only thing on the battlefield that can kill them. This Aspiring Champ should be fighting something. Here's a Pavane. I don't know if you really want that Pavane though. And then the Skin Wolves, that's not so hot. Good awareness here. That should rout the Ice Wolves. Azazel seems afraid to go in. Throg with a huge breath attack. Look at that. Aspiring Champs again. This one has gotten a Chevron for some reason. Only 300 value. Maybe it started with a Chevron. And here, Yeah, I mean, it's just like it's so funny. Like the infantry trades here have been immaculate for Navi, but the infantry have been terrible. Finally, Azazel lands at perhaps the worst time possible, um, with no supporting units nearby. I think what we're seeing here for the most part is that let's just keep an eye on Azazel's health. Is that Berserk is really taxing Navi's micro. Navi's sneaking by. Final trans going down on upgraded. Plague of Rust on Azazel, who has um, five, all of five. Not waiting for the final trans to go off is rough, but not so much damage. And Azazel escapes. Again, aspiring champs still alive. They really are the champs of this battle. Um, Finally, something that can kill aspiring champs is coming in. This is a good anti-aspiring champs unit. This route, I feel like this should have been a bigger route on the skin wolves, but they've managed to escape. Pavane helping chunk off the health of the skin wolves, not giving them the correct attack orders, and they're gone. That'll be a big, that'll make a big difference. And meanwhile, Berserk now is the one with the micro being taxed. Cold Voider is having the classic Total War problem of like, you're too slow. I can catch you, but I'm never going to catch you because I'm a big unit and you're a small unit. Hidden Azazel buff. Inspiring champs, let's see how much damage they take from the troll charge. A little bit, but Berserk decides to chase the Hellstriders in the end instead. One unit of Horse Masters. I'm not sure if that was supposed to be attack orders, if they're just here to do something. Forsaken, aspiring champs now with 500 value. 500 value. 500 value. So even though they're kind of like, not getting a ton of value, they're setting the pace of the battlefield because they're chunky units, so you can't move through them very easily. And they'll trade up into the cav and stuff, so you don't want to fight on top of them. Good pick on the ice or on the trolls. Probably even just make sure they go, especially now that fight or die is here. And Azazel is still going. Cold Void are getting worn down by the horsemen. I'm just gonna say here that Navi is in the driver's seat. There was a period of time where it looked for sure that Navi was gonna win this, but man, it turned so quick. Like I think that would be a good one to watch back because that was pretty incredible. Just really high micro game from both players, and both players at some points having a hard time like managing everything. It looked really like I want to see that caster value. It's only 1,000, but I swear that one broke like 4 units at once. Yeah, the aspiring champs, so they like obviously didn't pay for themselves, but they kind of set the tone of the battle. And then the Hellstriders didn't do all of the work. Um, let's see, what did the most damage? Azazel actually surprisingly did the most damage. Decent micro from Navi, although I think he was losing some of the skirmish battles, but as soon as the battle like phased out of micro and into, or like out of just the skirm battle and into an infantry battle, that's when he really equalized. Yeah, that was a great game to end on. Too bad for Berserk, but well played to Navi. Yeah, that was a close one. Here, I'll go back and watch that because I want to see, I think I should have it still here. Navi will go on to play Tim the Wilder in the semifinals now. And I can hop off. We'll just look at this one again quickly. Yeah, some like pretty creative play from Navi in the first two games. Didn't pan out in the first one, but panned out in the second one, and then going on to what I would consider a more standard, or at least this is like old school. Maybe it's not standard, but it's definitely old school. So yeah, I mean, like, think about how much less efficient these Marauder Spearmen are. Granted, paying a cost for it. Berserk has the Frost Dragon. I wonder if Berserk putting the Frost Dragon like over the units. How big is the aura? 35? That's not a lot. Probably would just get shot, but you could use it to absorb some, or use Throg to absorb some ammo. Even still, it's probably too tricky. Here, Berserk's a little inefficient with the way that he's moving these units. If you haven't seen it before, the goal is that you're waiting until your opponent throws, and then right when they're throwing, you're moving your units back. So you kind of do this back and forth movement where you're like always trying to time your opponent's throw. So you don't catch it when you're moving forward, you catch it when you're moving backwards. But a lot of the ammo is going into just one unit, which is making it a little worse for... And I think too, if you're Berserk, you want to move this here so that you have like, you know, additional, you have the numerical advantage, so you just want to like hone it in. But I guess he has to dodge Pavane, and we see the first Pavane, and it's pretty nasty. Comes down in a second. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, I mean, honestly, like with Azazel, like you would say that maybe it's not worth trying to play this style against Slanesh. Yeah, we'll just fast forward a little bit. Just want to see like that one moment at the end. Like, okay, at this stage of the battle, all of Navi's horsemen are online. We are missing one from Berserk, and it's a Horsemaster. Maybe we're missing two, actually. 1.5. This one might go down too, actually. I can't remember. Maybe this one doesn't now. So yeah, so I guess Navi actually does trade up quite heavily here in the skirmish phase. Berserk does get a nice pick over here, and this is the Searing Doom, like one of the Searing Dooms that I mentioned. Turns the tide of the fights just enough to rout them off. Navi's horsemen get pretty good value against the spearmen too. Managed to rout off most of these. So yeah, so at this stage of the battle, Navi is definitely up. Skirmishers are here. The champs will still be a problem at some point, even if they aren't right now. Spearmen are all gone for the most part. Now, I think this is where Berserk starts to really turn the tide, where he goes from like basically switches phases from being the person diving to, or sorry, being the skirmisher to going to the like aggressive, and it's just too difficult for Navi to like micro this Hellstrider, these aspiring champs, all 6 of these. Also remember that not all of these are in a control group unless he put it in the control group sometime in the middle of the battle. The stacking of the Beast of Tashnar and the Ice Wolves is nice. And then here, we'll show the... So first of all, yeah, you're taking a lot of damage. Look at the density of the units. They're all like relatively high health. Like most of them are 3/4 health. We get one Frost Breath here. One, and then this is the one that's like backbreaking. It's just like every single one is gonna hit like multiple models for the cav. It just ends up being like absolutely humongous. And then yeah, Plague of Rust on the Hellstriders. I guess they do have some, but is that just to get the passive? No, that's a strange choice. I don't know if that's intentional. Yeah, so basically once they start routing to, they'll take additional damage. They're slowed, so they should, yeah, 36, and now the Frost Dragon is in here with its aura. So all these units take extra damage on the retreat. So right here, honestly, if Berserk kills all of these, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, he's left with like 1 or 2, 1 Hellstrider aspiring champs. Arguably, he's still okay. Sorry, Navi is still okay because the aspiring champs at the end of the day are still going to be grinding. But yeah, maybe that's honestly the story of the battle. It's just that we do have one unit coming out here, but like maybe Berserk just took too much damage too quickly in the beginning of the battle. And he hasn't got this for free either, because we have some horse masters that are taking additional damage from Hellstriders, and like this trade has not gone the best for him. So like while this was huge, like he still was taking damage over here. This was a nice little pick from Navi. Just good awareness of like, oh, I have another couple seconds to take that. No real threatening units around. Throg probably wants to be hitting aspiring champs the whole time. I think Throg would do well into aspiring champs. Yeah, and how many of these units come back? So probably, even though that was a huge route, there wasn't much of a follow-up. Couldn't really chase them, so a number of these units do return. These units he does chase off, I think. Or they die before they can be chased off. Maybe at the beginning of the battle, Berserk backs off with his Marauder Spearman. That one has 0 value. That one has 6 value, so it had 0 value. There's like 2 parts. Like one, the build was better for Navi. I would say both players made mistakes with the micro, but I think that's just like a factor of the kind of battle it was. Yeah, really interesting game. I would have expected Berserk to have gone with like a Mammoth. Maybe Navi was also expecting that, and that's why there's so many horsemen. But yeah, really well played by these 2 players. Encourage everybody to hop on over to Turin's channel if you haven't already, and thank you for tuning in. Sorry I didn't do a better show at the beginning. We'll get them next time though. Should be streaming again next week. But let's see. All right, catch y'all later.